The movie begins in the middle of a chaotic scene at a military airport in Scotland. The army is working at full steam, dealing with a plane that has been hijacked by terrorists. A colonel is giving orders to a sniper to eliminate the bandits on board. As soon as the plane touches down, we meet Colonel Allen. They are trying to talk to a man who is strapped in the pilot seat, but they discover he has injured his hand. Allen then says to wait, as the man may not be one of the terrorists. At that moment, a boy named Elias jumps out of the cargo compartment of the plane, and the soldiers rush to him and take him to the medical room. As they take him there, they start to find out what happened on the plane. The scene then shifts to the day when Transatlantic 473 was supposed to take off. Now, Elias and his mother, Naja, are heading to New York for her therapy. Nadia has leukemia and needs to see Dr. Brown, who says he can help her feel better. But as they prepare, Nadia starts to get very anxious. She asks Elias to wait in the waiting room while she takes a moment to calm down. She plans to go to the bathroom to take her usual medication. After she takes it, she can feel some side effects, but they last only a short time. Elias is waiting for his mother and meets a scientist named Farid, who is going to New York for a convention. The flight to New York is about to take off, and everything seems calm at first. But things get tense when one of the passengers starts arguing with a flight attendant. Two agents, who are also on the flight, enter to deal with the situation. But then it quickly escalates when those two agents end up killing two passengers. It turns out they are terrorists, just making a scene to draw the agents' attention. The pilot is shot immediately by another terrorist. They also disable the tracking system so the plane cannot be found. The group includes Berg, Bola Oito, the steward Bastian, Jurij, Curtis, and Carl. They take control of the plane and tell all the passengers to move to the back. The terrified passengers comply. Berg, the leader of the terrorists, announces that they are now in command of the plane. They tell all the passengers to remain silent until the ransom is paid. Then Elias finds a map of the plane's interior and starts looking for a place to hide. As soon as he finds a spot, he heads there immediately. But then he sees his mother running to the back of the plane, and she is forced to follow him. Unfortunately, Bola Oito noticed and pointed a gun at her. In the end, Bola Oito shot Nadia 3 times. When Elias saw his mother lying there, he gave up on hiding and was dragged back to his seat. A little later, Berg brings 3 passengers to the front room, including Farid. He then tells all 3 to read a letter written in Arabic. Additionally, Berg records Reed's comments, making it seem like an Arab terrorist has taken over the plane. After that, the scene shifts to Naja's memories, where we see her having a picnic with Elias and her husband Nikolai. As they were returning from the picnic to the house, their car unexpectedly broke down in the middle of the road. The road was very quiet and far from the village, so Nikolai had to leave Nadia to seek help. But after a few hours of waiting, Nadia began to worry, as Nikolai still hadn't returned. Finally, she decided to go look for him, carrying Elias in her arms. While on her way, she spotted some footprints leading to a private property. Curiosity led her to follow them, and in the end, she arrived at an old house. When she entered, she noticed some bloodstains leading to one of the rooms and decided to follow them to see what was happening. She sees the blood flowing to a basement and, with no time to think, a strange man appears behind her, catching her by surprise. She quickly shut the door. After that, Nadia found the lifeless body of Nikolai, who was covered in blood. Then, that strange man reappeared and tried to enter through the window. Nadia wasted no time and hit him with a stick, but ended up getting bitten on the hand during the struggle. After the sun arrives, the creature flees, and it is at this moment that we discover he was a vampire. Nadia was bitten on the hand, which transformed her into a vampire, and her life changed after her husband's death. Now she had to take care of Elias alone and figure out how to survive, staying out of the sun. To maintain her energy, she only drank animal blood. Eventually, she returned to the old house in search of a way to heal herself and stumbled upon a strange book about how to make vampires. At that moment, someone appeared and said he was the father of the vampire Naja had killed before. The vampire's father then explained that every vampire has this evil nature that makes them crave human blood. He also mentioned that Naja was cursed and needed to be eliminated. He even tried to kill her, but she fought back and ended up killing him. After that, she took a drug mixture made by the vampire's father, which could alleviate a vampire's aggression. In the end, she grabbed a gallon of gasoline and set the whole place on fire. Then the scene cuts back to the airplane. Even after being shot, she is somehow managing to survive. She crawls and enters the cargo compartment to try to get animal blood. Meanwhile, Jurij and Curtis are preparing the parachutes and the poisonous gas. The two dogs of the passengers start barking at Naja, who, craving blood, bites one of those dogs and drinks its blood. Jurij, who is busy with the poisonous gas, hears something strange behind him. When he turns around, he sees Naja feeding on the dog's blood. Naja jumps on him and attacks Jurij, immobilizing him until he loses consciousness. As a result, she begins to transform into a full vampire. But since she does not want to be an aggressive killer, she starts injecting herself with medication to keep her aggression under control, so she doesn't end up killing anyone. Meanwhile, Bola Oito warns the passengers that if they do not stay in their seats, they will release poisonous gas. After that, Bola Oito and the hijackers go back to the cargo compartment to jump out of the plane and also set a bomb on board. Naja recovers, and in doing so, goes to the cargo compartment to find Elias. She then takes him to the cockpit because she has a plan to get the plane back to New York. It had been hijacked and diverted to London before, but the autopilot is still activated. Naja goes to the passenger area and asks if anyone can fly the plane. It doesn't take long for a student to come forward, claiming he had played a flight simulation game and offers to try to fly. She then takes the student with her and brings Farid, who wants to help as co-pilot. Before this, Farid tells the passengers that they are all going to die because the hijackers have a plan to crash the plane into a building in London. A rumor starts to circulate among the passengers that the terrorists are trying to mess up the stock market. Then, Farid and the student follow Naja to the cockpit, while Naja keeps an eye on the security cameras to watch the hijackers waiting until they jump from the plane. The student needs to quickly put the plane back on course for New York. Unfortunately, the hijackers hidden in the cargo compartment later discover Jurij's body. Bola Oito believes Naja is responsible for Jurij's death because he cannot find Naja's body near the cargo compartment door. After that, they go straight to the cockpit to confront Naja and force her to open the door. Berg ends up killing one of the passengers right in front of her. Since Naja never opens the door, Bola Oito decides to take one of the passengers. When Naja sees the hijackers threatening the small children, she snaps. As soon as she realizes that Berg is about to hurt one of them, she opens the door and goes after him. After that, Bola Oito grabs Naja's bag and finds a notebook detailing the sunrise and sunset times. This makes him start to think that Naja might actually be a vampire. He then manages to get a UV flashlight and sharpens a piece of wood to use as a weapon against her. As soon as he is ready, the hijackers go straight to the cockpit to take down Naja. But then, Bola Oito sees her and tries to face her. While the others head for the cockpit, Bola Oito manages to take Naja down. He cannot resist admiring her vampire appearance, which looks quite robust. He then uses a syringe to draw her blood. After that, he plans to finish her off using a club. At this moment, Elias comes running in with a gun in his hands, aiming at Bola Oito. He tries to shoot, but the bullet ends up hitting the airplane window instead. Now, the air pressure inside the plane begins to drop. The co-pilot quickly bursts into the cockpit and makes the plane descend because it is in a dive. One of the passengers is accidentally hit by a cart, leaving a small cut on his stomach. Meanwhile, as Bola Oito decides to abandon Naja, she tells Elias to stay with Farid before going after him to the cargo compartment. When Nadia arrives in the cargo area, she finds Bola Oito hiding in a car. She tries to shoot the window of the car, but the glass does not break. Then, she grabs a metal bar and starts stabbing the glass. Bola Oito rips the metal from Naja's hands and injects vampire blood into himself, starting to transform into a vampire. Realizing what is happening, she pours alcohol inside the car and sets it on fire to finish him off. But Bastian sees the smoke and jumps into action too. Put out the fire. The hijackers go to check the situation and find Naja trying to escape from the cargo compartment. They see her and end up shooting her in the leg. But somehow, Naja still manages to escape. They quickly close the door, but then find Bola Oito in the car. One of them sees Bola Oito having seizures and tries to help him, but Bola Oito ends up biting him to death. The other passengers start blaming Naja and even try to go after her. Luckily, Elias and Farid intervene to stop them. Naja realizes that Bola Oito has turned into a vampire, so she locks all the doors to prevent him from entering the cockpit. The other passengers join her to hold the door as Bola Oito tries to break in. When Farid tries to help her, he gets bitten on the hand. Then, one of the passengers comes in and immediately shoots Bola Oito. As soon as the door is locked, Nadia grabs Farid's hand and cuts it to prevent the infection from spreading. After that, Nadia, Farid, and Elias take Bastian to the cockpit. Bastian tells them that the plane is out of fuel, so they cannot reach New York. They have no choice but to land at the nearest airport. Sometime later, Bastian receives a message from the Scottish military ground tower. He then reveals that the plane is being hijacked and the terrorists are locked in the cargo compartment. One of the passengers who was injured in the stomach before is now being treated by a doctor. The doctor tells him that his kidney has ruptured and he could die from it. The doctor rushes to the medical room to get some supplies to stop the bleeding. While the doctor is absent, when she leaves the man alone, he is panicking about dying and wanted a vampire to bite him, thinking that was his only chance to stay alive. When he finally opens the door to the cargo compartment, he runs straight to Bola Oito and begs him to bite his neck. But Bola Oito wants nothing to do with it and just walks right past him. Because of this, the vampire manages to escape from the cargo compartment and starts attacking everyone in the cabin. The passengers completely lose their heads and run for safety. Outside the pilot's room, all the passengers start turning into vampires. Farid, Naja, and Bastian realize that if the plane lands, the vampires will escape and cause a huge mess down there. Then, Farid suggests that they blow up the plane as soon as it's on the ground using explosives already present in the fuel tank. However, the detonator for the explosives is still in the cargo compartment, and the only safe way to get there is through some very tight air ducts. So, Elias decides to crawl into the ducts. Without a second thought, holding a UV flashlight as a weapon, Elias hurries to the cargo compartment. He manages to grab the detonator, but then other vampires appear, causing him to drop the flashlight. He hides under a car. Meanwhile, Nadia is determined to save her son when she sees what is happening. Before leaving, she asks Farid to promise to take care of Elias if she does not return. Then, without hesitation, Nadia drinks Bastian's blood to unleash her feral side. She leaves the pilot room ready to act. She goes down to the cargo compartment to try to save Elias, but ends up encountering Bola Oito. They have to fight, but because Nadia hasn't gotten enough blood, Bola Oito takes her down. After that, Elias tricks Bola Oito into getting near the exit. When Bola Oito positions himself next to the door, Elias detonates one of the explosions at the exit, which sucks Bola Oito out. But as expected, he ends up trapped in a net. Soon he reappears, looking to attack Elias, while Farid is still stuck in the control room. They quickly tilt the plane to face the rising sun. As a result, Bola Oito catches fire and dies as he falls. When Elias sees his mother getting weaker, he cuts his palm to give her some drops of blood. Nadia wakes up and prevents Elias from getting too close. She does this because there is a chance she could lose control and bite him. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to Elias, who is still in the medical room. One of the officers is interrogating him there. After that, Elias says that the plane is full of vampires and asks to get Farid off the plane as quickly as possible. But none of the officers, not even Colonel Allen, believe what Elias is saying, so instead of listening to him, they end up drugging him. As night falls, Colonel Allen orders the soldiers to go after Farid, while the others try to break into the cabin to rescue the survivors. As soon as they enter the cabin, they are attacked by the vampires. Meanwhile, Elias, who was on his way to the hospital, suddenly wakes up, jumps out of the ambulance, and runs straight for the plane. At that moment, while Elias is looking for Farid, the army has already found him. Farid sees Elias running towards the plane and calls for him, but Elias does not hear. Meanwhile, the vampires begin to descend from the plane. Before the vampires move away from the plane, Elias needs to grab the detonator hidden inside his teddy bear. He presses the button, triggering a huge explosion in the fuel tank, blowing up the plane. After the explosion, Colonel Allen realizes that Farid is not guilty, so he frees him, allowing him to reunite with Elias. The next scene shows that all the vampires were eliminated in the big explosion.